What a good exit from his Latvian-built VTC sled. That's his final run of the season. Next up, first of our two Korean sleds, Yoon Jung-won and Yoonglin Jun. Of course, Korea not holding the games this year, but in 5 years' time. Not next year, but in 5 years' time. So they are already in their Olympic cycle leading up to Pyeongchang, and that's why both crews are now here. I imagine both will drive four-man as well tomorrow.
Yeah, the host country of the Olympics gets an automatic spot in the race. So, no matter how Korea finishes throughout that World Cup season, they're going to have at least one sled in two-man and four-man. But they want to be competitive, so they're really, put in two sleds, let them battle it out, kind of learn from each other, create sort of a rivalry. They try to make the entire program better.
Well, it's exactly the same as happens in the Russian program, the US program, as you mix and match the best athletes to try and get each sled working as well as you possibly can. And that's the team element of it.
Big skids, though, in a lot of these places in between these curves.
Again, these guys with only a few years driving experience. The program was a sort of start-up operation 5 or 6 years ago. And these are the second generation of Korean bobsled drivers.
128.9 kilometers an hour leaves him in 22nd place. He's not going to see another run.
That was getting close, though. He was getting close. 26 at the start, drove himself into 22nd. He's 0.06 of a second away from making the cut.
Yeah, that's a good way to finish the season. I don't know if he's going to go and take some practice runs on any of the other tracks in the world, but if that's his last run of the year, he's got to feel pretty pleased. He can rest on that throughout the summer and look to improve.
One tiny little skid less, that would have seen him in the 20, bumping Ivo de Bruyne. That was very close. Now, what about Dong-Young Kim? Now, he is the more experienced of the two Koreans. Still just 25 years old, from Seoul, the Korean capital. Made his debut in the two-man in Whistler, December 2012.
That's quite a place to make a debut.
I wish it was January 2012, wasn't it? The North American swing. 5:09 getaway, 100 slower than their teammates. Same first corner velocity, exactly 49.0.
Yeah, like I mentioned, this is quite the rivalry between these two. They really learn from each other, and because their start times and down times are so comparable, they always want to finish on top of the other.
Two brand new sleds here. And they've gone with a Eurotech as well.
He's drifted back into 30th position right now, which is last compared to, well, with the exception of the Liechtenstein crew that crashed.
121.7, 3 kilometers an hour down on his teammate.
Really high in 11 again. Hit that top lip.
Got 14 to 15 stitched up, but that's about the only straightaway where he's been straight. 123.9, 5 kilometers an hour down. Again, I have to say, there are just occasions where I question quite what we're getting from the track's timing system. Swiss Timing are being fed the data from the sensors in the track, which they didn't install and don't control. And sometimes you think, I wonder if we're hearing from the same receptors every time. And the Koreans make it down in 30th spot.
Yeah, here's curve 11 where he gets that extreme height. I think the runners actually hit up on top of that, and that's where you see that spark right there. It's the metal on concrete.
Yep, that's where the ice runs out. So it nudged the woodwork away enough to allow the runners to spark off the ice, off the concrete.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work that needs to be done on those runners to take those scratches out.
Well, luckily